Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who gets burned. Buddha. Ever felt like your patience was being tested by the universe? Or just that one person that just ticks something off in you? It's time to release your hot coal and take a deep, calming breath. Let's take the first step towards peace of mind. Anger, grudges, guilt, regret, they're like carrying around emotional garbage. And honestly, who needs that? You might catch yourself wishing you could hit the rewind button on the past. Pretend that the outburst never happened. Or fantasize about the person who wronged you, crawling back, begging for forgiveness. But let's be real. None of that's doing you any favors. It's just weighing you down. Not worth it. This story explores the heavy toll of holding grudges, letting go, and uncovering the key to genuine inner peace. Discover how forgiveness isn't about letting others off the hook. It's also about liberating yourself. Watch now to gain life-changing insight that can redefine your approach to forgiveness, transform your mindset, unlock new possibilities, and learn how to untap your potential. Welcome to Untapping Your Potential, where we will share with you motivational stories, motivational figures, comeback stories, and public speaking tips that will keep you growing and inspire you to take action. Meet John, a successful businessman from a bustling city. John has spent his entire life chasing success. From a young age, he was taught that money was the ultimate goal. His father, a self-made entrepreneur, instilled in him the belief that time spent away from work was time wasted. As a result, John grew up with a constant hunger for more wealth, more power, more influence. He saw everything through the lens of profit and productivity. He did find love, got married with a beautiful wife, and had 3 healthy children. One day, his children came home from a trip with a strange look in their eyes. They had participated in a meditation retreat organized by the school, something John thought was trivial. His children had never paid attention to anything like this before. They were just like John, always chasing the next big achievement. The walls of their house were filled with medals and certifications to prove it. But he let them go because it was part of the school activity for extra credit. He never imagined that this one retreat would have such a profound impact on them. His children began to speak about the spiritual lesson they had learned from a man named Buddha. He just thought it was a phase, something they forget about it once they get back to their regular routines. But it wasn't. They began to change. The children became more present, more at ease. They no longer rushed through their days with the same urgency. Before, conversations with them often felt like discussing future plans or the latest competition that they were preparing for. Their days were packed with tasks, and their happiness seemed tied to accomplishing more. However, they're more interested in feelings and being present at the moment. Oh, John was furious. How could they waste their time on such nonsense? In his mind, there was no time for stillness. There was work to do, deals to close, money to make. He was determined to confront the source of all this nonsense. The next time his children planned to visit Buddha, he decided it was time to step in. He was going to show them that Buddha's teachers were nothing but nonsense. When the day arrived, consumed with anger, he stormed out, secretly trailing his children as they made their way back to meet Buddha. His plan was simple: confront the man, expose his so-called wisdom, and make sure his children understood their mistake, all in front of their eyes. When John walked into Buddha's assembly, he saw a serene figure sitting peacefully in the center of a small group. Sitting at Buddha's feet, his children were calm and still, meditating with their eyes closed. The sight of his children spending time in a quiet contemplation instead of working drove John even into more fury. His frustration boiled over, and without a second thought, he stormed up to Buddha and spat on him, unleashing all his anger. To his shock, Buddha didn't react. No anger, no words, just a calm smile. The lack of response only fueled John's rage even more. John's anger quickly turned to unease as he locked eyes with the smiling man. Buddha's calm, unwavering smile seemed almost unnatural to John. It was as though the man wasn't affected by anything. The businessman storms off, his mind reeling, completely bewildered by what happened. That night, John couldn't sleep. For the first time in his life, he felt a sense of discomfort he couldn't ignore. This man, Buddha, had smiled when he had been spat on. How could someone remain so calm in the face of such hostility? John had always been taught by his father that showing strength meant showing no vulnerability, no softness. But Buddha's peacefulness challenged everything John thought he knew about strength. The events from the day before weighed heavily on his mind. As he replayed the moment over and over, he began to realize that his outburst was driven by pride, not reason. With this realization, John returned to Buddha to make amends and apologize for his impulsive actions. He fell at Buddha's feet, apologizing for his outburst. He begged, "Please, forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing." But Buddha's response shocks him even more. "No, I cannot forgive you." Everyone in his assembly was taken aback. Was Buddha about to snap? Despite everyone's anticipation, Buddha calmly continues, "Why should I forgive you when you've done nothing wrong?" The businessman, confused, reminds Buddha of his actions the previous day. But Buddha calmly replies, "That person you spat on is not here now. If I ever meet the person you spat on, I'll tell him to excuse you. But to this person right here in front of you, you've done no wrong." John was shocked. John realized at that moment that Buddha was teaching him something far more profound than just forgiveness. It was about seeing things from a higher perspective. Buddha wasn't telling John that he was wrong, nor was he telling him to hold onto anger. He showed John that peace comes from letting go and from recognizing that every action is part of a bigger picture. John now knew what his children were experiencing. There is no love without forgiveness, and there is no forgiveness without love. Brian McHale. The point Buddha is making is profound. Genuine compassion isn't about offering forgiveness in the traditional sense, where you hold on to resentment and then release it in a moment of grace. Genuine compassion is deeper. It's a kind of forgiveness that doesn't even make the other person feel like they've done something wrong. It's the ability to release negative emotions entirely and let go so thoroughly that the need to forgive vanishes. The person you're forgiving doesn't even know it, and they certainly shouldn't feel guilty about it. This right here is a lesson you can learn. In today's world where you're quick to react, quick to judge, and quick to hold onto grudges, but what if, like Buddha, you could choose to rise above the petty dramas of daily life? What if you could respond with the same calm, understanding, and compassion? You might not just change the way you interact with others, but you could transform the way you live your life. Forgiveness isn't about waiting for someone to ask for it or making them feel bad for their mistake. It's about releasing the weight from our hearts and understanding that sometimes the person who hurt you might be carrying their own struggles. You unlock true emotion freedom when you stop viewing every mistake as needing fixing or punishing. And that, in turn, helps us unlock our true potential. As long as you don't forgive, who and whatever it is will occupy a rent-free space in your mind. Isabel Holland. Thanks for watching this video. How would you like to hear more motivational stories consistently? Do me a favor, support the channel by sharing and commenting below. And please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button to get the latest update. Soon, you will be on your way to feeling inspired.